Hey guys, it's Avi's mommy, and it's Autism Awareness Month. And if you don't know what that is, it's a month where, just like any other awareness month, whether it be Cancer Awareness Month, there is a lot more attention being drawn to the thing that is autism. And I am not a specialist. I am a parent of a person, of a child with autism. And he is a nonverbal child. He is developing language and he has a lot of sensory issues or sensory needs. So, for Autism Awareness Month, I want to make sure that we are getting educated, especially if you are a parent or a person with ASD, sensory issues, or autism. And I want to make sure that we talk about, topics that are important. Um, right now, I want to talk about language because with times changing the way that they are and history being delved up and we're currently making history in politics and in the world, I want you guys to understand that politically correctness, to being politically correct, is important when it comes to autism. So, um, the person who autism was coined by, his name was Asperger. I don't know his full name, and I'm not going to give his full name because we're not giving him credit for anything. He was a Nazi doctor, and he experimented on people with special needs, whether it be Downs or mental disorders or developmental disorders or whatever. He did experiments on them. And of course, any science back in those days, a lot of it was torture based, but specifically, of course, in Nazi Germany, it wasn't just torture based, it was torture for their own pleasure and for science. Okay. So the phrase Asperger's is a phrase that has been eliminated. The Autism Society does not acknowledge Asperger's as a phrase that they use for autism, just because of its negative connotation. So that's set and out of the way. If you're just joining us in our travel through autism and in our learning with autism, Asperger's is off the list. Okay, we don't use that phrase anymore. ASD, autism sensory disorder, is a common phrase that's used. A sensory, issues. That's something that people refer to when they say their children has autism. Autism, just plain simple as it is. We also don't say high functioning, low functioning anymore. It's high needs, low needs. And that's essentially what low needs is what Asperger's was before. Excuse me. To have low needs autism means that you're well adjusted for the most part. You have language, you have motor skills, you may lack some social skills, but you don't encompass everything that is associated with autism. So oftentimes people with low needs autism, they are in regular classrooms or they've gone to college, they have degrees, they have jobs, and they're able to drive. High needs autism is nonverbal, motor skill deficiencies, high sensory issues. They're in SPED courses. Most of the time, they can't drive. As adults, they require assistance into their older ages. These are people who are going to need support and who are going to be continuing therapy through a majority of their life. Now, we've talked about how autism is a spectrum. So, autism being a spectrum, you can fall anywhere between high needs and low needs. And everybody is different, as we've talked about before. It's not always going to apply the same. So there's that. That's what we're talking about language wise. When we're talking about autism, we're going high needs, low needs, ASD, sensory needs, and autism. Okay. When it comes down to Autism Awareness Month, I do want to talk about a topic that's important, and this is across the board. This isn't just for people with sensory issues or with autism. This is consent. In a lot of cultures, it's important that when you arrive at a function or at a gathering or whatever, you give hugs and kisses to family and friends as a way of saying hello. I grew up in a Mexican culture, and that's just part of it. You know, you give your saludos as you go through the house. Um, but there's something that, as we've learned throughout time, affection is not it's not a necessity. Like, I don't have to show you affection. I don't have to hug that creepy uncle. And your children shouldn't be forced to do it either. You should always ask. That's where consent comes in. um, People and children with ASD, autism, sensory issues, because touch is a sense, um, they could have like extreme sensitivity to being hugged. You know, it makes them uncomfortable or it hurts them. You know, they could have like, specific feelings in their arms that they don't like. Um, and that nobody should be forced to endure that, because you just don't want to, mentally traumatize a child because you want to give them a hug. So, in Avi's case, this is something that we've learned to understand. He will come and sit with us when he wants to sit with us. He will be independent when he wants to be independent. He knows how to give hugs. Since a very early age, we've done huggies with him. We'll come down to his level, put our arms out, and he will either give us a hug or he will ignore us. And if he ignores us, then oh well, we wait till later. If he gives us a hug, then great. We love it. We love giving our baby affection. He also knows how to give kisses. Again, we ask, besos, besitos, and he will either give us a kiss or he will not. We don't force it on him. But when we interact with other people, I feel like our friend group is very educated when it comes to consent, and understanding children with sensory needs, and they don't ever go that far to like force our son or any child to like give them a hug or whatever. He's very independent. Avi loves to give affection in his own way. This weekend we had some friends over for brunch, and he was walking around with his little cereal in a cup, and he voluntarily went up and started feeding everybody. And not just like, here, have it in your hand, or here, like, I'm offering it to you in my cup. He was voluntarily feeding people. It brought him joy. That was him doing it. We didn't go and say, hey, feed me. No, that's not the way to do it. We wait till he gives us an opportunity, and then we take the opportunity. And then shortly afterwards, he got more comfortable with the adults, and he started giving hugs. He would just walk up to people and give them hugs. We love that. We absolutely love that. We have friends who he takes a long time to get to know, and he takes a long time to reach out and even just like, hey, like, touch their hand or like walk up to them and make eye contact with them. It's never forced. So that's just one of the important topics when it comes to knowing about autism, knowing about the sensory needs, or just being a person in general. Consent is always important. I actually am going to do an interview with my youngest sister this week that I am really excited about, because she has two boys. She's a single mom, and she's got two boys. One of them is diagnosed with autism, and he's a year older than Avi. And then there's one that's a year younger than Avi, and we think he may also have a form of autism. He's the older one. It was nonverbal for a long time, and he's developed a lot of vocabulary throughout the years. And the youngest one, he's got a lot of sensory quirks. That's what I like to call it. He's got a lot of sensory quirks about him, and he is limited language. So soon she'll probably be getting him tested and do the whole spiel with that little one. But we will be running an interview with them, with my sister later on. If not today, then hopefully this week, and I'll have the video up for you guys soon. I'm really, really excited for this month. If you see in your neighborhood that there is an autism event going on, try it out. Even if it's just like a little street market. There's events at bars for adults with autism, helping support people who have autism, who need grants, et cetera, et cetera. Do your research though. Remember, I talked about it in my previous video. There are groups out there that are not good, that they don't give money. That it's like less than 4% of the funds that they make in charity goes towards actual people with sensory and with autism needs. And this is like across the board. You know, there are people with low needs that want to go to college and they can't afford it because they can't really hold a full-time job and go to school, so they need these grants. There's single mothers with multiple kids who have sensory issues that can afford therapy because most of these therapies are private insurance only, and it's very, very expensive. So these grants are extremely important. During this month, contribute as much as you can, even if it's just volunteer work. You know, it all helps. It all goes towards the same place. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I made it quick. I'm trying to make them more concise, and I'm not scripting myself, but I'm kind of pre-mapping it. Like and subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. If you know somebody who has ASD, autism, sensory needs, if their children have autism, sensory needs, ASD, share the videos with them. Maybe they would, be interested in learning things that they didn't know before. Maybe this is going to be a helpful resource for them. They can reach out to me. The website that I run, it's aviandmommy.com. There's a form there that you can fill out if you want to reach out. I'm always open to receiving emails and talking with other parents, and even like getting people to talk on here. I'm hoping to have more inclusive videos, and share some footage with you guys. I'm still learning this whole process of YouTube and YouTubing, but I really want to get these good messages out there. So like, subscribe, follow Instagram, Facebook, and the website, and on YouTube. Bye, guys.